Hello and welcome to Experts Live UK Community Voices. This series is all about the people behind the Microsoft community, the speakers, experts and community leaders from across the Microsoft ecosystem who willingly spend their spare time talking about technology for fun. I'm Bruce Cullen, and in each episode, I normally sit down with speakers, community leaders, and Microsoft MVPs from across the ecosystem, and we talk about their journey, how they got where they are today, the challenges they faced, and ultimately what led them to where they are today. But today there is a bonus twist, as we're going to be going deep on Experts Live events in general. We're going to be looking at the Experts Live Denmark event that happened earlier in the year. And of course, looking at Experts Live UK later in the year on the 11th and 12th of June to see what our collective experience of Experts Live events is over the year. And as ever, I have a co-host with me, and I'd like to welcome the one and only Mr. Geoff Ross. How are you doing?
Hello. Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, Bruce. Yes, I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good to have you with me. You're no stranger to Experts Live for obvious reasons, and we'll kind of get into that as we go. But it's not just the two of us. No, we have a very special guest today in the form of Morten. Morten, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's awesome to have you on the podcast today.
Yeah, definitely. So I bumped into Morten last week at the time of recording at Modern Endpoint Management Summit in Paris. And we got talking about Experts Live UK and the Experts Live Denmark. And Morten said, look, if there's anything that I could do to help discuss Experts Live events, like, let me know. It's like, aha, I have the perfect idea. And so here we are today. So thank you for saying
next
yes.
Week? Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. Calendar in hand. Which slot works for you?
Yeah. And Bruce, I loved your intro where you said we speak with speakers, community leaders, and Microsoft MVPs, because like literally tick, tick, tick with Morten.
Tick, tick, tick.
All the boxes are checked. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the thing that's surprising me over the course of this podcast is just how many of our guests have some real, actual community link, other than just simply I speak at events. Obviously, you do that too. But yeah, you are an MVP. You're an MCT. Do you know what an MCT is? So what's an MCT?
Yeah, well, I am a triple MVP today in security in Azure and recently also in security Copilot. And I have been a certified trainer. So that's the MCT acronym for that. And I've been that since 1999. So it's 27 years that I've been an MCT and I've been a trainer. And as you mentioned, I am also engaged with a lot of the communities, especially in Denmark. But I try to help wherever I can help. If anyone are, contacting me, trying to help, or can you share a template, or how do you do that, or what system do you use, and who can help with marketing or whatever, I'm really happy to help. Where I can help, obviously. My own passion is around the Danish event, but the Danish event itself is also, I would say, international event. We had people from 18 countries attending. But working with the, trying to help scale the community is really important for us in Denmark and important for me as a person as well. So that's why we're here today. Try to see if and I'm really looking forward to the UK event, and it was amazing to see how people were excited last year from the pictures. I didn't attend myself, but it was really excited to see, and I think these community events are really giving back a lot of great stuff to the community attendees. Besides obviously the knowledge aspect of it, we are bringing in the best speakers that you can think of from both, the community and also from Microsoft. But it's also the way that we present as MVPs, where we are not, salespeople. We are not trying to sell a product and say only the one side of the product, which is typically for a Microsoft event, what works, how great is Copilot or whatever. We also address what doesn't work. So, and that's what community wants today. They actually probably want to learn more about what they should not do and the pitfalls others have taken to avoid those. And that's what we actually bring to the table. And that's why we have seen a huge increase of people attending a community event. And lastly, the fun aspect of it. For many, it's also a way to engage and meet people. And that's also what Experts Live, it goes in the name, it's the live aspect of it. It's also that we as humans want to have a place where we can meet. And for us in Denmark, we actually have people calling our event as the yearly IT class reunion party. So it's a lot of hugging and how are you? And that's also what we can do in an in-person event, which is really hard in a online event.
Yeah. Do you know, I wasn't planning to talk about online events, but over COVID, I really struggled, to be honest, because we tried to replicate effectively the thing you get with an in-person event, which is like true community, the connection you have with other people online. And it sort of worked, but there's only so much you can really do, you know, without seeing people face to face and that time to get into nuance. So
It's very
I'm
hard
really
to
glad
get
we
that
have.
authentic feeling on that on the online stuff.
Yeah.
And I say that real authentic community where people are honest about what works, what doesn't work, the mistakes they've made, all that. Like that requires those in-person human connections.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I was going to ask you is what's the difference between something like a Microsoft Ignite, a Microsoft corporate event, and something that's more sort of community? But I think you've already really well articulated it. But let me see if there's anything you want to add before I move on.
I think a lot of people are trying to seek knowledge, and they do that by various sources, including, for example, LinkedIn, and they meet, people through that channel where they might find, people that are really passionate around, for example, identity. And once you actually can meet these people at an event, and you can talk with them also in the breaks and stuff like that. So that's where it becomes really unique. And that's something that we focus on in a community event, is bringing in these leaders from all different kinds of sources. Like, for example, in Denmark, we had people, speakers from 15 countries. So you actually don't have to fly to the US or elsewhere to meet with these people. We can actually have them locally. To your point about the Ignite and the AI tour, I think Microsoft has a term for this, like a T1, Tier 2 event. I don't think I offend anyone saying that these are becoming more and more marketing orientated and controlled by marketing, and obviously, it's a good place where you can address new things, but the way that we announce new features today has also changed. So we are actually announcing new features more or less every week. So it's hard to keep things for an Ignite event, but obviously there will be things that at an Ignite event. But personally, I don't spend much time, hunting down sessions during it Ignite. I do spend more time speaking with sponsors or speaking with, Microsoft folks or stuff like that. Whereas for the community events, we see that we set the bar much higher. For example, going to advanced level, going to experts level, going to really deep dive level. We don't see that anymore, or it's very rare at Ignite. It's more high level, I would say.
Yeah, it's more announcements, isn't it, these days from Microsoft? It's still a really good event,
And it's
and
very,
speaking as a sponsor,
can be a bit kind of like textbook and theory. This is how we want the product to work. This is how we want you to use the product. This is what it could do. Whereas hearing from the community, the people who actually gone and tried to do that or need to do that, like then you get the real experience of, well, this is actually what we did with it. This is actually what it delivered. You're a product guy, Bruce. You know the difference between like what you think the product's going to do and then what the customers are then going to go away and do with it. From both sort of intention and also the actual outcome. So very different.
Yeah.
We were just before hitting record on this discussing something that we launched in my day job. That's sort of a brand new product, and I've got loads of lovely ideas around how I think it's going to be used, but I have no idea whether I'm right. And the only way is, I'm very likely to be completely wrong, as all my past experience has taught me this.
Yeah.
So I sort of learned over the years just to shut up and to wait for feedback
Yeah.
before going and building things.
And that's what
Yeah.
these community events are, can really provide is feedback on this technology, how to work it, how to get the most out of it, what quick tips are there, what the easy wins, and what are the no-goes. Like, don't use this feature, it doesn't work, it doesn't deliver what they promise.
Yeah.
Indeed. So looking at Experts Live Denmark, that you're a co-founder of Experts Live Denmark. What made you want to start an event in the first place, rather than simply attending and speaking?
But I think it's about, bringing people together. So I think that there are two sides to this. And the one side is the knowledge and the sharing of the knowledge. And that's something that we as MVPs are very passionate around. For us, being able to help others and to make them grow and to see that not when you are teaching them or giving them some insight where they're actually learning something or they are saying, oh, okay, that means that I'm actually on the right path, we're doing it right and stuff like that. That's giving me the energy. So being able to bring a lot of people together and help them grow using knowledge is obviously important for us. The second aspect of it is the people part, the connections, the being able to engage, and that's why people come to an in-person event. So being able to have this yearly reunion party, to use that word, is something that is important for us. So we are very fortunate to also experience the support that we get, because we couldn't do this without the support. For example, for our event, we call it not speaker dinner, as we hear other events do. We call it appreciation dinner, because we are actually 180 people that work together in throwing this party. And that means that some of us are having a shirt on where it says organizer, some having a shirt where it says speaker, some does have a shirt that says volunteer, but we are all contributing equally to make this happen. And we work as a team. So for us, the building it is also important. The learning it, training the volunteers to make sure that people want to come back. And that means we are very focused on making sure that we are good enough so our volunteers come back, our speakers come back, our attendees come back. For us, it's trying to grow this, and we can also see that from our numbers. We started with our first event, we had 287 people. On our second event, we had 750, and to our recent event, we had 1,430. So that's the growth over the last 3 years that we have done this. But I think the passion around it is something that is quite unique with a community event, because all of us are really passionate around it, and we love to do it, and you can see that that there is so much passion that drives it. But we're also amateurs in that respect, so we also make mistakes, but we also make things go wrong, because sometimes you maybe meet the volunteers for the very first time during the event. You never met them before, and just working together on doing this can be a struggle. But I think the teamwork around it and the passion is driving this very much. And whereas the Ignite and some of the other ones are very commercialized and very, different in that respect.
The ones that wind me up the most are the ones that are they portray themselves as community events, but they're actually not. There are some that are like that out there, and they do
Yeah.
have a completely different feel and
Yeah.
format. So speaking of
But I
formats,
think
actually,
just before, sorry, but
that's okay.
give you an example. I cannot go up and say to people that you have to smile as a volunteer. We had 50 people working with us as a volunteer. We cannot say this is what you do and this is what you not do. So it has to come naturally. So we need to make a space where everyone are having fun, where everyone know what they need to do, and then let it scale. And so it starts all the way out to the people that front you when you check in. And if you have a good experience all the way through, it has been a success. But it's hard to scale when you are so many people.
Indeed.
I'm just going to jump in and say that, yeah, as a volunteer at Experts Live Demo this year, I did nothing but smile because it was the most amount of fun. See my video with lightsabers for more details.
I was about to talk about that. I wasn't there, but I had a feeling you had fun, Geoff. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, genuinely, it was fantastic. So yeah, that was not a hard thing to do, but to put smile the whole time because of that community that was there, because of all the enjoyment in the room.
So let's move on to the format of Experts Live, then, Mark. How many sessions, how many tracks? What's the general shape of the thing?
Yeah. So the nature of Experts Live, when you compare it to other conferences, are more wide when it comes to the tracks. So we have a tendency to see that we have more. In our setup, we had 10 different tracks that was technical, and we had 2 tracks that were non-technical. So the technical included, for example, security, modern work, identity, Azure, and so on. And we have actually very good insight to the interest from our audience. The 2 biggest groups we had were security with 29% and modern work with 28%. Azure had 15% and so on. So we know a very good have an idea about it. But we also have, for example, development. As an example, we had data, we had Windows 365, and so on. So we had different tracks. We also had panel discussions. We also had career paths. So more people-orientated tracks. The second thing we did was we had some different offerings. We had an offering called a masterclass, where we had a full day with deep dive, where you could do deep dive in, for example, security, identity, Azure, and so on. And that was the first time we did it this year, and actually the first time I think ever in a local country event where we have had this term, and it was a huge success. I think we had 850 people, and we only had 34 no-shows. So we had 850 people
really
that
good.
actually bought a ticket for the masterclass idea. And this is something that we already see now. Speakers want to do it again, and we already want to improve some things and stuff like that. So masterclass was new. The second thing we did this year that was new was Ask the Experts Live, where we could book 30 minutes with a speaker or 2 speakers, and you could ask questions related to your I want to be an MVP. How do I become an MVP? Or I have this problem into. Can you help me? Or stuff like that. The third thing was the panel discussions. I mentioned that, where you could ask questions. It was more management orientated. Previously, we have also done more focus group orientated. Roundtables is another word for this. So you could do. You don't easily have to do, just technical sessions. You can actually pick and choose for what you want. During the breaks, we also had sponsor sessions. We also had sponsor sessions during the normal technical, so you could go and learn more about a product with a sponsor. So you make your own agenda based on your interest, and you can pick and choose.
That makes sense. I love it. I particularly like the careers track. That
Yeah.
is a very good angle for a for a community event, in my opinion. Because it's not just about here's what you should be using or how to use technology. It's how do you get the most from your life? How do you get the most from your career? That's stuff super important. Also, big fan of a panel and of a round table. But I want to just quickly ask Geoff now. So that was the format of Experts Live Denmark. How does that compare to Experts Live UK? What's different? What's changed? What's similar?
Well, yes, any similarities to Experts Live Denmark are purely coincidental. I must state that for legal reasons. And all the ideas are totally our own, and we didn't just completely steal them.
I understand.
Actually, seriously, as I just mentioned, I was at Experts Live Denmark as a volunteer, which was a great privilege. And even before I was there, we sort of saw what they're doing, saw their format, saw the community that they're building and part of. And yeah, a lot of it really made a lot of sense to us. And following from Experts Live UK 2025, we were looking to, build on that and lay on more for our community. So we did borrow one or two kind of concepts. So Experts Live UK 2026 this year is also across 2 days, on the 11th and then 12th of June. We're also doing a pre-day we're calling them workshops, where it's like one single kind of session for the entire day, multiple speakers, obviously going through a whole range of topics within that, keeping it engaging, but allow you to really just dig into one particular topic and really learn hands-on. A lot of this can be very hands-on. Bring your own lab and get working.
So
and
is
then
that sounds quite similar to what Morten described as masterclasses. Is that about right, or is there a difference there? Name?
I think so. We may have even borrowed some of his speakers.
It's actually, for us, it's up to the speakers to define the content or how we want to do the masterclass. And what Geoff was mentioning here was, one format of it where you bring your own laptop as an example. You might have some tasks to complete during the session. We also have seen other masterclass format, what was more case orientated. For example, in the M365, they were doing a case, and they were introducing the case around the different technologies like Teams, Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, Power Platform as an example. We saw another angle to this where we also have a good mix of Microsoft people and MVPs together. And that's actually something that people really enjoy. And also the Microsoft people enjoy it because this is a way for them to work together in presenting some technologies, and you get both sides of the coin, right? And it's also, we also saw a lot of engagement, so a lot of questions. So it's also important that these masterclasses becomes a two-way street where we can actually talk and ask questions, and we make an I would call it atmosphere or where people feel comfortable in asking these questions. So I think the format of it is how they want to do it. It's not something that is being done in a specific way where we have a right and wrong. It's up to how they want to do it.
I think the most important thing there for me is that, attendees feel comfortable to bring their own problems, to bring their own questions, and sort of to make it their own.
We've discussed that in general sessions, haven't we, Bruce, as well? That's definitely kind of the vibe we want to create. Xbox Live UK is that, the sessions, there's obviously an allocated speaker who's going to be up front, kind of, controlling the session, but, all these sessions are going to be interactive. We want to hear everyone's opinion, and everyone's got something to share. So within the kind of framework of the session, with obviously respect to the speaker and everybody else, we want people to have the opportunity to speak up. And we've got dedicated Q&A slot at the end of all of our sessions to make sure that everybody has a chance to speak up and maybe ask a question, but also maybe just add to what's been said or give their own perspective. Or I actually tried that, it didn't work, and here's why instead. Sort of everyone's got something to bring. So yeah, that applies for me. That applies very much to the workshops, but also to any technical session where time and those things can allow it. We want to just create that experience where everybody feels that they can have the opportunity to be heard.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, thinking about like logistics for Experts Live UK, so we've got our sort of workshops which are akin to Morten's masterclasses. Are those happening throughout? Are those happening on a certain daytime? How does that work, Geoff?
So yeah, that's day one. So day one is the workshops on the Thursday, and they're running sort of, as I say, throughout the day, breaks and lunch, etc. But you're sort of back into the same session with the same peers. To kind of continue that single story, that single journey throughout the day. And then towards the afternoon, we've got our party, because I think, like, I absolutely agree with Morten, also creating that space for people to come together. I love the idea of the reunion. We've got a lot of returning speakers, but a lot of returning attendees as well from our last year's event, and also all of the user groups that we've had over the years. So a lot of people, will know each other, met before. So we want to give them a space to reconnect, but also for people who don't know anyone, we really want to create that, very welcoming atmosphere to connect. We'll have some activities going on. So we've got a bit of a party, networking party, happy hour. We're not quite sure what it's going to be called. Probably all of those things. And the great thing about that is that if you for whatever reason can't make the workshops, and you've just got a day 2 ticket, that ticket still gets you into that party in the afternoon of day 1 on the Thursday. So everybody's welcome to that. We want to get the whole community together to network. And so that's the first day, the workshops, and then the party. And then day 2 on the Friday the 12th is sort of more of a traditional conference with sessions. We've got 2 formats of sessions. We've got what we're calling deep dives. These are 75-minute sessions with, I think, nearly all of them have more than one speaker, because we again want to kind of just bring that balance of expertise and opinions and keep it really engaging and fun for everybody. So we've got lots of sessions that are in that format. And then we've got what we're calling lightning sessions, what are 30-minute sessions. So, lots of demos in those, keeping it really engaging. To kind of cover off a topic, like to give you a bit of a feel for it. Maybe it's a new technology. You want to just find out what it's all about. Got that going on. So a real mix. And some sponsor sessions. We've got some fantastic sponsors that we're so grateful for. And they've all got great stories to tell. So we've got some sponsor sessions. And we've been working with our sponsors as well. I'm sure most of the community can relate to going to sponsor sessions, and it's just a complete sales pitch.
It's the worst.
And that's not what the community want. Now, I know that's, obviously the sponsors are there because they want to spread their message, but that's not what the community wants or needs. So we've been working with sponsors to make sure that their sessions are not just sales pitches, they're actually informational, they actually cover technologies. Don't just bring your sales team, your marketing team, bring your experts, bring your technical leaders, bring your MVPs, make it a technical session as well. You can obviously talk about your products. That's fine. We know that. People are going to expect that, but you can't just do that for the whole thing. No. And if you do, people won't come because they're competing, like all the sessions, with other content. They're writing an abstract, same as everybody else, and they've got to make that. That's the opportunity to show why people should come, what they're going to get out of it, what the takeaways are going to be, same as any other session. And when we're working with them, to make sure that's going to be fun and engaging. And not just buy our product. Here's the price. Come and scan your badge, please.
Those are the worst. Those are the worst sessions. As you say, no one's going to go to them anyway. If something's clearly marketed as a vendor session, there's going to be a sales pitch. Just save your time, save your money, do something else.
So it's in the sponsor's interest to put on a really good, engaging session. They want content. So we're helping them to understand what that needs to be, and then obviously the benefit to the community is they get some great more content as well, where they can actually continue to learn, and not just be sold to.
Agreed. So just zooming out then. So Experts Live UK, we've got workshops, we've got deep dives, we've got lightning sessions, we've got sponsor sessions. So 4 different types of session. Are there any sort of like themes or topics that are going to be covered across these various ways in which we deliver content? And is that sort of uniform across both the days, or is it different on day 1 and day 2?
Yeah, so I think sort of Morten said it as well, but Experts Live as a brand of conferences is maybe unique to other events in that it's all Microsoft technology is on the table. That's a challenge, but also, something actually really powerful as well. So yes, pretty much everything's in scope. We haven't got tracks as such where single room or kind of like will always be on one particular topic. It's all going to be kind of mixed up and intertwined, get you moving as well. So you can't just camp out in the corner of one space. But yeah, we've got sort of each topic has got one or even more topics, because that's the other thing with Microsoft and all technology these days is very rarely can you kind of deliver content and it be on one topic. Everything's so connected
Yes.
and linked up. And do we need a security topic? Because shouldn't security be kind of part of everything that we do? And same for AI probably these days. Like we can't just isolate that. But yeah, we have sessions that are covering, as I say, agentic AI, Copilot, Microsoft Security, Intune, identity management with Entra, Power Platform, and Copilot Studio. So that's all linking in. Copilot Studio is a Power Platform. Is it Copilot and AI? So again, that's another example. It all blends together. What have I forgotten about?
Have you said Entra, Intune, obviously security?
Modern work in
we've
365.
Power Platform.
Yeah. Windows 365 and
But the whole challenge
DVD.
is to select these among all these fantastic speakers, because there are so many great people out there that has great knowledge, and the whole selection process can be challenging because you cannot fit them all in. But we see also a change where most of our sessions are with 2 speakers, and that also gives a good balance where you can get different experience and maybe even different opinions on some things, where you can even discuss pros and cons with various ideas. So I think that's also something that adds to this discussions, that it actually becomes. So, for example, how do you design conditional access policies? So maybe you could have 2 different angles to how you do it, but eventually the end goal is the same. This way, it allows the attendees to come from different maturity level. So some might be more new to a new technology, where you learn from seeing a lot of demos and stuff like that, whereas others can be more mature and they might want to learn how you do infrastructure as code with this or whatever. So people can come with different knowledge and still benefit and learn from it.
Yeah.
I also want to add that we set a goal for our last event where we wanted to, increase the level. So we actually took out, introductory level. So we want to keep everything minimum at advanced or experts level. So I think that is also something that people are seeking today, because you can get a lot of info today by just watching a YouTube video if you want, or reading a learn article or whatever. But you actually want to take it a notch up, and to my point with the conditional access policy, a feedback could be: don't tell us about what is conditional access policy. Tell us what we should do and not should do.
Yeah.
So skip the introductory part. And if this is a new technology, throw a lot of demos at us, because we learn from seeing things. Don't just throw 30 slides at us. That way, we as humans can also learn much better. So again, having a lot of demos is important for us.
And that's why the multiple speakers, with workshops, we've got some have even got 4 or 5 speakers, because it's a whole day worth. On the deep dives, we said we're trying to get at least 2, and that's why it's important, because it's what you're saying, Morten. It's not just facts. This is what it does. This is how you configure it. One person can deliver that, but what people want and what people are going to get is experience.
Yeah.
And if you've got 2 speakers, and you've just literally doubled your value because you've now got twice the experience in the room. The facts are the same. Both person can give the same facts. This is what it does. This is how you configure it. But they're both going to give you their own experience of how it works, what to do, what not to do. And 2 speakers means you double your value. So we want to do that, because as I say, you can get that facts off a million places, but it's that in-person access to the experience where the real value is. And there's a cost
for me,
to that. There's for doubling up on speakers, there's a cost to that as running the event, because our speakers do cost money. We don't pay them, just for the clear. It's a community event, but there's expenses to cover, and there's cost to that. But we want to make sure we're delivering those quality sessions for our attendees, that they're going to get the most out of it. They're going to go away, really having a great experience. And finally, I'll say sorry, Bruce, I'll let you speak in 1 minute, I promise. I think there are some names do come to mind, but it's actually a rare thing that somebody's got like the energy and the personality to keep engagement over a 75-minute, 90-minute session. That's a very hard skill that I think is fairly rare. But by having 2 speakers, it just keeps the whole thing super engaging. They can just bounce off each other. You get the kind of conversation between them as well. They kind of debate. They almost like a live debate of what works, what doesn't work. Is always really valuable to see. If there's a problem with the technology and that sort of thing, you're not sort of all just sat there watching someone desperately bashing at keys. One person could actually talk whilst the other one's trying to fix it. So it just keeps the whole session just a lot more enjoyable for everybody.
I agree. All I was really going to say is, for me, the whole, introductory topics versus learning something and taking something away, for me, that's where the deep dives and the workshops come in. Different people learn in different ways. And for me, hands-on keyboards is how I learn best. No, not from slides, even if the content is brilliant, not from being told stuff, and actually also not from online. I struggle with that. It's from giving something a kick myself. So I would encourage you all out there to engage with them if you're anything like me. So one thing that you mentioned, Morten, a little bit earlier was you talked about challenges. So I wanted to ask you if you had, from your challenges and the lessons you've learned from Experts Live Denmark, if you could give us one tip for Experts Live UK, what would it be from your experience?
I think obviously challenges can be categorized into, unexpected events, or it could be your own mistakes from not having the experience, or that there could be various categories, I would say, and we learn all the time, and we love the feedback that we get. So we are very thankful for getting feedback from a speaker, from a volunteer, from the attendees, and we design our next event based very much on the feedback. And that's where we, for example, in our case, I can give you an example. Our price for our event was fairly low, and that's in the spirit of community. We don't want to, no one, this is non-profit, so everything that we make out of it goes back to the community. We don't get any money out of this. But one of the feedback we got was we wanted to have more beverage options. For example, beverage option could be water in the room. It could be having a soda during the breaks. And we didn't have the money for that because it was very expensive. But again, now we have seen a high demand for that because IT people drink a lot of Coke and soda. And we got to find the money for that. So now we have to figure out how to solve that. And do we call this a challenge? It was a strategic decision when we made it because we didn't have the money. Now we got to figure out how to solve that problem, and we are working to do that. But that's again feedback based, and we are very driven by that. But it's always, for example, I can give you another example. Last year when we did our speaker dinner for appreciation dinner. On the way in the taxi to the dinner, I got a phone call from one of the speakers that got ill. And she said, Morten, I'm not able to come tomorrow to present. And during the appreciation dinner, I said to the whole group, we got this situation at anyone that can help. And two guys in the very back said, Morten, we'll take up that challenge. So during the appreciation dinner, they were sitting talking about what to present. And next day, they did a 45-minute session on this, and they did fantastic. And that's how
That's
we
really
help each
cool.
other in the spirit of community and MVPs, and we work together on helping each other, solving each other, and honestly, we don't. Today we are sitting with Experts Live logo. I'm actually sitting with a Workplace Ninja at here today. I don't
Ooh.
care about. Yeah, I really don't care about the logo, and I care more about the value that we add to the community and how we can help each other. So that's what important for most of us, I would say.
Yeah, I actually
Couldn't agree more.
yeah. I feel like yeah. I mean, in the UK, but even across the globe, right? It's a single Microsoft community. I've obviously very passionate about the UK Microsoft community, and I feel like these other events, like they're not our competition; they're our partners. We all need to work together to deliver. We're all trying to achieve it, which is just to build that community for that benefit, like you say. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think when it comes back, it's all about the people. That's what important. I think it's for me, it's meeting the speakers, meeting the attendees, meeting the sponsors, and having a lot of fun and learning from the people. I think that's also why it's important to have speakers that are in good balance and that can laugh, that know each other, that can help each other, during a session and stuff like that. So I think that's also very important when you match the group. How do we, technology? What do our attendees expect? Who are good speakers for this type of this session? So I think that's where it's important that we also help each other because, for example, I am not very knowledgeable in the area of where Geoff is working with. So I don't know who are good speakers, for example, in that area. So that's why we call each other and help each other to learn. And for example, I don't know what is top of mind of technologies that people want to know about development, because that might not be what I'm deeply working on 8 hours a day. So that's where we help each other to learn.
All good stuff. I am mindful of time, and I've got two things I really, really want to ask before we wrap up. So I'm going to give you some head start with the first one. I really want to know from both of you what your picks are from our agenda, the sessions that stand out to you the most. And before you answer, Geoff, we've talked a lot about Experts Live UK, about the general tracks, the format. Aside from those sorts of things, so Morten mentioned things like a careers track, and I know we have some more sort of different types of sessions. We have panels and things as well. Can you tell us a bit about those, please?
Yeah, so as I said, we don't have sort of tracks in that sense where we've got a sort of dedicated series on that, but we do also have some non-technical sessions. We want to make space for those kind of discussions. Those are across two topics, both of which are very important in the community, very important, in the space. One is neurodiversity. We have a panel session on that with a number of incredible speakers who have a lot of experience and mileage around those topics. And the other is women in technology. Again, we've got a panel discussion on that topic, and we really want to encourage lots of people to come along to that to understand those challenges and to understand what we can all do as a community to do better in that space. There's lots of great work going on. I love to see all the great work going on both of those topics, but we also can look and see there's a long way still to go when you look at certain situations. So yeah, we've got those two non-technical topics covered as well across our agenda.
which is great and really important. I myself am dyslexic, which has massive challenges and massive advantages too. So I'm a big supporter of the neurodiversity aspects of things. We also have coming up a special podcast episode, which is half scheduled at the moment, on the Women in Tech panel, to figure out what that's going to be and why it's such an important topic to cover off. So thank you for sharing that. Going back to the question, I gave you some time to think about there. What are your session picks, effectively, both of you from our agenda at Experts Live UK? I'm going to ask that to Morten first. What stands out from you from our agenda?
I think some of the things that I like personally are actually some of the sessions where some of the community people show some tools that they have made or some extra added value that they have made, because that's the glue that we like to make, the added value, where we actually add more value to the existing product stack. So the ones that include that are the ones that I personally think are the most valuable to me. But again, for me, it's also the speakers, the presentation, the learnings, the pitfalls. So choosing the ones that I know have great experience on a topic is something where I might get 2-3 takeaways that are really why I go to this, and so I think that these sessions are the most important, is the right speaker and also the extra tools that we add value to it. So some of the more product orientated ones are probably not the ones that I would pick, but the most, but that's how I do it. Again, it depends on where you are on this in your learning cycle, and what problems you have that you want to solve by attending here. But I think overall, everyone should really. I encourage you to come to Experts Live in the UK. It's a fantastic place to be. You will learn a lot. You will smile a lot. You'll laugh a lot. You will feel a room where you can learn. You have a lot of connections that you can talk with after the event. That's also what we see for our event. We can say the best seller that we had is actually word of mouth. So 54% of the tickets we sold were word of mouth, and that's also how we hope that the community will help the organizer in the UK by telling others about this fantastic event. So if you attended Experts Live last year, please go and tell your peers, your mom and dad, your friends, your colleagues about this event, because it's a great way and how we can scale this event together. We saw that the people engagement, like other people telling other people about this, or the organizers telling, or that's the best seller that we have. It's not LinkedIn, it's not Twitter, it's not our website. It of course adds to it, but it's how we help each other. So if you want to have event next year and the next year and then again, please help the organizers by sharing info on this, and see this as a great opportunity to meet, because it will be a lot of fun.
Couldn't agree more. Picking up on the styles of sessions that you've just called out as your sort of picks. So I've gone and picked specific sessions of mine. I had the time to prepare effectively. So I've got two. I've got a workshop from day one, which is an Intune workshop by Simon and Starley, focused on the challenge of onboarding mobile users. This is an Intune session. Now, my day job and quite a lot of my interests are around the area of Intune. So that will be really good, and with the workshop format, the hope is we're going to get quite deep on that topic, and it is more of a niche within that area. My second pick is building and building as oh god, I'm going to get this wrong. Scalable enterprise AI agents, essentially, which is Jayshree and Reshmi's session. Now, for me, this is interesting because of the enterprise bit. There's plenty of stuff out there on building AI agents, but the enterprise piece is often missing. So there'll be some, hopefully, tricks and tips in there that I can pick up. This is obviously coming from a product perspective. I'm a product guy ultimately, but those are my tips, my ones to watch. Geoff, how about yourself?
That session with Jayshree and Reshmi is going to be brilliant as well. They're both incredibly knowledgeable people. I'm struggling to pick a specific session. Everyone's my favorite. I'm going to be diplomatic, but I'm looking forward to the international speakers, Express Live UK 2025. We had one international speaker, I think. I might have forgotten somebody. But it was, a smaller event, our first event. But this year we had so much interest, so many people submitted to speak. We've got some fantastic people coming who I've never met before. So I'm really looking forward to that. So the kind of just the breadth that I'll bring in terms of cultural diversity and experience and different products will work differently in different cultures due to legislation and the way things work, cultural, that sort of stuff. So that's what's really interesting to bring to the UK community. I'm going to pick in terms of agenda items. If I had to pick something there, I'm going to pick the networking party on the Thursday afternoon. Because yes, I know people want to come to these events to learn, but I think that kind of getting together and networking is also where so much value can happen. You'll meet loads of people, but you'll meet someone who you'll have a really nice conversation with, and then you'll walk away, and that'll be great. And then in 6 months' time, you'll have a problem, and you'll think, oh, I met that person at Experts Live UK, and they dealt with that. I wonder if I message them on LinkedIn, I want to take it back to me, and they will, and they'll help you out, and it's going to be brilliant. And it's those kind of connections that I experience, myself, and see other people kind of enter into all the time, and just love that. So yeah, I'll be looking out for new faces as well. I really want everybody at Experts Live UK to feel welcome. Lots of people who go there will know other people from the community. I've been to previous events with the same sort of people, and there'll be lots of catching up and friends and hugging. But if you don't know anybody, you're really welcome, and I'll be looking out for you. You can look out for me. I'll introduce you to as many people as I know. I'll get you stuck into the community, and it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I want to add to that, if I can just do that. One of the things that we also saw was a lot of companies that actually bought a lot of tickets. They made a company trip out of this. So this is also from a company perspective, a way to go as a group. So for example, we had a term where we had a package. So if you bought more than 10 tickets, you actually, for example, got a group photo as an example. You got a special mention during the keynote. You got some exposure on the internet. So what we found is that we don't want to give a discount of 5%, for example, if people buy 10 tickets. Because what we as a company want is exposure. We want to show that to the world that we are investing in our people. We are growing the people. Go out for dinner the night before. Engage. We have this team spirit. So we had 526 attendees coming from 27 companies. So we had a huge group of people coming from, a fewer companies. So I think that's also something to keep in mind, is that invest in this as a group activity and go as a larger group. I'm sure that the team can give you a good package deal out of this. But I think that's also something that is important today, because we work very often remote. We don't see each other that often. So this is a great way to meet and people in person.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, basically get a conference and a team building event in one. It's a great value. And coincidentally, by complete chance, we have the exact same package on offer, Morten. We thought of it all
how
by
that came to
ourselves.
be.
Maybe you come to us, I don't know. But yes, 10 or more tickets. So if someone gets those exact same benefits available. A company mentioned, group photo, the logo, all that stuff. Yeah, because we want to offer that same value.
Yeah. And as you say, everyone's working remotely. You need excuses to get together, and what better excuse, effectively? Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Experts Live UK Community Voices. We've talked plenty about the conference. Normally, I would, at this stage, plug effectively the conference. All I'm going to say is the one thing we haven't said, which is tickets are £130 for one-day tickets or £215 for the full shebang. Obviously, designed with community pricing in mind. We've already covered we don't make a profit from this thing. This is effectively us covering our costs, so not going to break the bank. So thank you. Please do have a look. And thank you to Morten for joining us, and Geoff for joining me today and helping us unpack everything that Experts Live UK has to offer while talking about Experts Live Denmark. In our next episode, I'll be joined by Martin Henkel, who is a systems engineer at SVA and also an Intune MVP. So please do tune in for that one. And if you've liked this episode, or of course, anything that we've put out previously, please do like and subscribe, follow, share with your friends, neighbours and pets or whatever. Whoever has an internet connection and Spotify subscription, they're very welcome. We are at Experts Live UK on LinkedIn. And if you have a question for Martin, our next guest, or a topic you think we should cover on the podcast, please do send it either to myself, Bruce Cullen, or of course to Experts Live UK. And that is all we have to say for today. So thank you very much and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Morten. Thanks, Bruce.